Hey there, all you fantastic people. I hope your day has been absolutely wonderful. We're back with another thrilling episode of What If Naruto Was the Reborn Ancients. Make sure to show some appreciation to the talented author behind this fanfiction. You'll find the link waiting for you down in the description. Kushina hides a secret from everyone, and then makes sure her son will not face the burden he is about to carry alone. When she's done, the world shall fear her son. If you're loving this mind-bending what if, don't hold back. Drop a comment and share your thoughts. And while you're at it, don't miss out on exploring the other captivating what ifs available on this channel. Alright, without further ado, let's kick off this video and dive into this exciting journey. Kushina, who was meditating, saw her son had come inside the seal and said, "Yes, son, she did," Naruto asked with a confused look on his face. "Does that mean she forgave me?" Kushina said. "This time no. I was waiting to tell you about this until you were older, but you're probably going to have to explain it to her as well. You both are at that age where your bodies are beginning to mature for adulthood. As such, your bodies are producing hormones that you never had before, and when you get into intense fights where your adrenaline is rushing combined with your mental state, you will get urges. These urges can only be dealt with by two ways: extreme physical activities like Hinata did against those training dummies, or a lot of sexual activities." Naruto's eyes got wide and said, "I remember the Twi'leks and Huts talk you gave me. Does this mean that once we get over this changing stage we won't have to worry about it again?" Kushina said. "Actually no, basically it's something you will deal with the rest of your lives. Hinata kissed you in a moment of lost control after you saved her while she was rage-induced. She's still pissed at you, so don't read too much into it so far and don't push her." Naruto nods and said, "Mom, why has she changed so much so quickly?" Kushina said. "With everything that has happened to her, all her emotional shells have been destroyed. Like the mirror room, she has no secrets from herself now, and she's going to have to get used to the real her. She's going to have to build herself her own emotional walls again. Ones she created. It's basically the same thing that was done to Jedi who wanted to join the Sith under Malak, except you're not turning her to the dark side." Naruto sighed and said, "Okay, I understand. Well, I guess I'd better go and repair the training ground." As he left his mind, Kushina frowned and thought, "I wonder if he's going to try and sleep later tonight. I hope he gets some rest soon." As she looked at her son worried, Naruto began repairing the training dummies Hinata had destroyed, and after 4 hours he finished and sighed as he walked up to his room and took a shower and walked to the kitchen to get a glass of warm milk before he drank it and went back to his room. He paused to check in on Hinata and said quietly, "Good night, Lady Hinata." As he turned and left to go to his room, Hinata opened her eyes after he left and got up out of bed and began exploring the temple. Several hours later she was walking down the hall when she heard the sound of whimpering. She looked around and thought, "Who's whimpering? Does he have someone else here besides me?" As she began to follow the sound, she soon found the sound coming from a room, and she opened the door and saw a red-headed woman sitting beside Naruto's bed, rubbing his hair, looking sad as Naruto was curled into a ball and whimpering. The red-haired woman sighed and said, "My poor son, why did they do this to you?" As she stroked his hair, Hinata gasped, and the woman turned and saw Hinata there and said, "Strange. It's okay, dear, you can come on in, I won't hurt you." Hinata stepped in slowly and the woman smiled and said, "He won't wake up for a few hours. I put him in a forced sleep so he can get some sleep." "He's not actually slept in nearly 2 months, Hinata asked. "Who are you?" the woman said. "My name is Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze, but you can call me Revan." Hinata took a step back and said, "Revan, but you're sealed in Naruto, how are you here?" Revan sighed and said, "I have been trying to find a way to free myself so I can actually be more in my son's life for years, and I have found when he tries to sleep I can get out until he wakes. When he wore himself out after fixing the training dummies and putting you in bed, he came in here to sleep, and I came out and put him into a forced sleep so he can actually get some sleep. Usually he comes inside his mind and sees me so he does not have to sleep." Hinata was confused and asked, "But why does he not sleep?" Revan sighed and said, "He suffers from nightmares nearly every night he does. He doesn't know much about kindness and love from others besides me, and as far as he knows no one has ever been physically or emotionally kind to him except me. That's the main reason he did what he did to you. He sees that you have the same loneliness he feels inside, though he will never admit it, and he wants to make sure that you have someone there for you." As she looked back at her son, Revan looked at her and said, "No, I am not. Neither I nor my son have actually lied to you. He told you he believed you about being set up. He has told you the truth about everything. From a certain point of view, Hinata said, screamed. A certain point of view? He set me up, destroyed my life and tricked me. How can you say that so calmly? Revan sighed and said. If he did nothing you would still be getting attacked by Sasuke. Naruto made it where he could protect you from him. If he had not done anything you would still be hiding under the treatment your family gave you every day that you told him about. If he had not done anything then the young lady who stands before me now would never have been born and the shy, timid Hinata would have let everyone walk over her entire life and died never knowing the real woman she could be. You will learn growing up, Hinata, that a lot of things you view are viewed differently by other people. You know when Kumo tried to kidnap you. From your point of view they are the enemy. From their point of view you are. If you asked a neutral party who was the true enemy, that person would say both of you. Who's right? Hinata looked at her and started to say something but then thought and looked down and said, You're right, I guess from a certain point of view he was trying to help. That's more than my family has ever actually done. To them I am nothing but a weakling, Revan said. And what are you to Naruto? Hinata looked at him and walked around the bed and whipped a few hairs away from his face and rubbed his whiskers, and he stopped whimpering and started to actually purr from her stroking, which caused Revan to raise an eyebrow and a giggle from Hinata. Hinata said, Damn it, I can't stay mad at him when he does that, it's too cute. Revan smiled and said, No, I suppose not. Listen, Hinata, I don't know what you will decide to do, but give him those 2 months he asked for. If after that time then you can decide what to do, you might actually find yourself liking it here with him. If not, then you won't look back the rest of your life wondering what might have been like I do. If I never have came here, then this village would never have been attacked by Kyuubi, but then my son would never have been born. If I never have joined the war, then all those who died after might not have died. We can't change our past, Hinata. We have to live with the choices we make and forget the rest. Now you have to decide, Hinata, what you want and what's best for you. I must go. My time is nearly up, but he won't wake for a while. Just so you know, Naruto respect you no matter what you decide to do. As she slowly faded away, inside Naruto, Kushina began panting and looked at her arms and saw they had nearly completely faded away and thought, Damn it, I'm getting weaker. I hope what I did worked though. It cost me a lot of energy though. If only. As she closed her eye and meditated, Hinata looked at Naruto and saw that he had calmed down in his sleep, and she moved her hand away and he moved his cheek out trying to find it, and she giggled and thought, 2 months, that's not too long to ask for. She then left the room and Naruto sighed in his sleep. The next day when Naruto got up, he found Hinata already running the training ground again, and he said, Hinata, can I talk to you? Hinata said, 2 months. I will give you your 2 months to convince me to stay. Now what's my training for today, master? Naruto looked at her and said, Alright, from now on I want you to do the dodging exercise 1 hour a day. Every day I will add a new exercise for you to learn until we finish your entire schedule, at which time you will follow it for the rest of your time until you make your decision. Now get off the floor so I can change the course. As he walked over to the wall and pushed another tile, and Hinata asked, How many of those tiles do you have and how are they changing the field? Naruto said, I got 100 different changes for the main hall here, and I may not know a lot about most ceiling, but I have taken storage ceiling to a whole new level. I have thousands of ceiling circles built into the floor. When I press one tile, it seals anything that might be on the floor besides humans, and then unseals whatever tile I pushed, Hinata said. That seems like a good idea. It saves space and gives you a chance to change things around. Wonder why nobody else does that, Naruto said. Nobody else has the time and patience to actually set it up. It took me over a year to set it up. Now look at the field. Hinata did and saw there was 20 waterfalls coming out of the walls into small stone water pools, and in the middle of the room was a large empty water pool, Naruto said. Now where the last exercise worked on dodging and flexibility, this one works on speed and strength. What you must do is work on one waterfall at a time and get the water from that waterfall to the Gant pool in the center. Once you get that one done, you do it to the next and the next. You do this by taking the bricks of the smaller pools that is holding the water, which each have a number on them, and lift them, and then look on the ground between that smaller pool and the larger pool and set them down on the ground on the correct number tile. When all the numbered bricks are set up, water will go to the main pool, but it will not fill it up. The first pool has each brick weighing 5 pounds. The second pool has each brick at 10 pounds, and so on and so forth until each brick on the last pool will weigh 100 pounds. You have exactly 1 hour to do this exercise. If it's not done by that time, the entire field resets, and you will take a small 15 break and begin again until you're too tired to stay awake. Tomorrow you will do both exercises for 1 hour each and then learn something else. Hey, raise a hint, use chakra to make you muscles stronger when you get tired. You can begin when ready. As he walked away, Hinata watched him leave out the main door and began training. Naruto smiled and thought, I feel great today. I can't remember the last time I had such a peaceful sleep. As he made his way through town, about 10 minutes later Naruto walked up to the Hokage's secretary and said, I would like to see the Hokage. She looked at him and said, I'm sorry, he's in a meeting the rest of the day. Naruto looked at the door and thought, she's lying, he's in there alone, and started toward the door. The two chunins by the door said, you can't go in there. Naruto looked at them and did not recognize them and then force slammed both them against the wall. The Sandaime was doing paperwork when he heard 2 hard slams outside his office and a female scream, and the door to his office opened and Naruto looked inside and said over his shoulder, it looks like he's free for a moment, thank you. As he walked in and closed the door, the third looked at Naruto and asked, what are you doing here, Naruto, and what was that about out there? Naruto sighed and said, same old, same old. I asked to see you and your secretary lied and said you were in a meeting for the rest of the day and I could tell you were in here alone. I then went to see you and the 2 chunins tried to stop me, so they probably need to go to the hospital because I did the same thing I did to those 4 NBU. The third rubbed his eyes and said, you know you could have requested a meeting, Naruto said. And I would never get that meeting. Until I proved myself, almost nobody is actually going to give me a chance. You know it, I know it, so why bother talking about things we can't change? As for the chunins, they learn I am not some weak little boy they can bully and should not be underestimated. Consider it a training lesson. With a smile, the third sweat dropped and said, I am getting too old for this. So what are you here for? Naruto said. I need to request a mission. The third's ears picked up at this and said, really, and what's that? Naruto said. I am sure you have heard about Hinata and what has happened, right? The third nods and Naruto said, well, she is with me right now as a member of my clan for the next 2 months, at which point she will decide if she wants to join permanently. The third nodded and said, okay, so what is your mission you would like to request? Naruto sighed and said, I am currently helping her get stronger. I have already gotten her completely out of her shell. I can't teach her most of what I am planning for my clan later on, but I can show her a little bit because she's finally getting stronger, and for the first time in her life free of the Hyuga clan rules and restrictions. I want her to see exactly what she can become. So what my mission is, I want 4 female ninja, at least Chunin level, and each of them must be respected in their specialty. I want them to come and talk to Hinata and show her fields that she might look into to become a great ninja. I don't care who they are, but I would like one of them to be a master of genjutsu and another in medic and possibly a combat specialist. As for the last one, I don't care. The mission is from 10 a.m. tomorrow to 4 p.m. tomorrow. If Hinata becomes interested in any of the fields she learns about, I would like for them to come by on every Saturday, giving advice of books she can read or any exercises that could help her later to learn. That is the first part of the mission. The third frowned and said, I do like the idea you have to help her, but they won't be able to teach her any techniques until she's an actual ninja, but any books or things like that she can read, like biology books, I will approve. Now what is the second part of the mission? Naruto sighed and said, Hinata is a woman, and since I learned her mother has been dead for many years, I don't know if anyone has given her the talk yet or has explained certain things she will need. I would like at least one of the women who come to teach her to explain those as well. The third nods and said, alright. I am going to classify this a B-rank mission. I will take the money out of your account to pay for it. Is that all? Naruto thought a moment and said, you know any kenjutsu masters who would be willing to spar? I know 7 different styles and I can do them well, but I want some actual sparring experience before I teach them to Hinata, the third said. I can think of 1 or 2. Does age or skill matter? Naruto said. I want someone who can give me a challenge. I don't care about age or skill level as long as they know how to fight. I don't care if it's 1 or 2 people. The third nodded and said, right. I would have to do A rank for that mission because one of the 2 I am thinking about is a civilian. Naruto nods and said, that's fine. Have them all come tomorrow at 10 a.m. if you can to my place. If you don't mind, can you have Kakashi bring them so I know that you sent them and not someone else? The third said, fine. He's still doing D-rank missions anyways for his last prank, so I will pay for that one myself. If you need anything else, let me know. Naruto nods and got up and said, well, I must get back and make sure Hinata has not drowned herself. May the force be with you, Hokage-sama. As he left, the third sighed and thought. Now who should I send? When Naruto got back, he saw Hinata still at it, and he stopped and watched her, and saw she was about to pass out and said, Stop, Hinata, and come here for a moment. Hinata stopped and walked over to him, and Naruto said, Sit please. Hinata did and said, Yes, master. Naruto sighed and said, Tomorrow, Hinata, we will be having guests over. I don't know who they will be, but 4 of them will be talking to you about your training and other things. I know you're still mad at me about what I did to you, but please don't tell anyone about it. I have them coming over to talk to you about your training, not to scold me for hurting you. I also want you to watch me tomorrow when I spar with the other 1 or 2 people who come. I am going to be showing several of my kenjutsu styles that I will be teaching you later. When you finish your first 2 exercises tomorrow, I want you to go and get ready to meet them, but try to dress in case they want you to spar. Do you have any questions? Hinata said. No, master. Naruto nods and asked. Do you want to talk to me? Hinata said. No, master. Naruto sighed and said. I understand. That is all, you can continue. As he got up and left, Hinata watched him leave and looked down, and then got up and began training again. Naruto walked into his chamber of solace and waved his hand, and curtains fell over the windows shadowing the room, and Naruto pulled out a mask from a scroll and put it on before stepping on a block in the floor, and a screen came down from the ceiling. Sasuke was training at his family home when he heard a voice said, What has your foolishness caused? Sasuke recognized the voice and he pulled out the cube and said, Where have? As he grabbed his throat, and Rasen said, You fool, do you have any idea how many of my plans you ruined by poisoning that girl? I told you to hurt her, not try to kill her. Sasuke finally could breath and said, But master, she's okay, Rasen said. Just barely, you fool. If you would have killed her, everything you want would be gone. Now you are going to have to back down on a few things or you will never be able to get your revenge. Now Hinata is no longer a Hyuga. You are to leave her alone for now, as well as Naruto. Sometime soon Naruto is going to get some weapons customized. They are a pair of ancient and powerful weapons that can cut through anything. I want you to find out when he does so and where they are being done at, and then steal them. You must do it without being caught. Once you have stolen them, I want you to begin learning to use them, but do not be seen learning them or let others know you have them. Do not use them on anyone until I have seen you truly know how to use them. They will aid you greatly in killing your brother. I also want you to become silent. Act like you don't care, but watch for weaknesses in everyone and think how much they are holding you back. How they never stop to Itachi. Bottle up your anger and your hatred for those who do nothing but hold you back and keep you weak. When the time comes, you will release that anger and claim what is rightfully yours. Do you understand? Sasuke said. Yes, my master, Rasen said. Good, now as for you, punishment for your foolishness and for thinking you may question me. And Sasuke felt himself choking again before he was slammed into a tree, and then another tree and another tree, when a sickening crunch was heard and Sasuke screamed out in pain, and Rasen said, Pain is for the weak. Ignore it. Sasuke bit his tongue and fell to the ground, and Rasen said, Now remember, Sasuke, you are mine. I can kill you anytime I want. Now go get yourself healed and get back to training and tell no one about me, Sasuke said in a pained voice. Yes, master. As he passed out and Rasen faded away on the cube, Naruto sighed as he waved his hand, and the screen went back up and the curtains raised as he sealed his mask back up and thought, I should just kill him, but I need him for now, Kushina said. Do you think it's wise to let him get his hands on a lightsaber, son? Naruto said. Yes, but I am giving him the weak ones I made to feed off of chakra instead of the usual energy crystals. He will give me what I need by getting them for now. I hate to say it, but I need him for the time being. Especially if that comes true. Kushina looked down and thought, I know, if that does come true, what will become of you, son? Naruto sat down and began to meditate for the rest of the night. Hinata, when she became too tired to continue training, went toward her room and looked in Naruto's room as she passed by, and looked down as she went to get ready, seeing he was not there, and thought, I guess I shouldn't act so cold toward him. And then she saw him whimpering in his sleep and she let a tear fall and thought, Damn it, why do I care? I want to be mad at him and hate him, but the more I think about it, and the more he tries to help me, I just can't. The next day, after Hinata had done her first 2 exercises and was sitting meditating after refreshing herself, Naruto appeared from the halls and asked, How are you today, Hinata? Hinata said. Fine, master. Naruto closed his eyes and said, Good. And he moved his hand while he walked toward the entrance, and a block sunk into the wall, and the main hall began changing again. Naruto walked outside and saw 7 people standing there, and he blinked at one of them was a girl his age and thought, "That's strange, I guess she's the civilian the Hokage talked about." And he walked to the gate and saw Kakashi and said, "I take it these are the people I requested, Kakashi." Kakashi said, "Yes, they are." Naruto nods and he said, "Thank you all for coming. I must ask that whatever you see inside you do not mention to anyone because a lot of it is considered clan secrets. I am Naruto Namikaze, please come on in." As he opened the gate and stepped away from it, Kakashi looked at him and asked, "You mind if I come in?" Naruto said, "Sure, as long as you don't use that. If you do, I will destroy it." As he tapped Kakashi headband, Kakashi nodded and Naruto said, "Then welcome." As they all walked in, Naruto said, "Please follow me." As he led them up the stairs and inside, Kakashi whistled and said, "You changed the main hall?" Naruto said, "Yeah, I have around 100 different training grounds built into this room under seal control. About 20 minutes ago there were waterfalls and pools in here." Naruto walked down the stairs and said, "Now I know some of you might have known her before, but allow me to introduce you to Lady Hinata. Lady Hinata, these are the women who I told you about yesterday." Hinata looked and smiled and said, "Hello, Kurinai," in a kind voice. Those who have seen or knew her before all raised an eyebrow and Naruto said, "So how far did you get today?" Hinata looked at him and said, "I got to the second waterfall." Naruto nodded and said, "That's good. Now if you don't mind, please introduce yourself for myself and Hinata." As he looked at everyone, Kurinai stepped forward and said, "Kurinai, Chunin, Genjutsu. This is Anko, assistant interrogation master and one of the top assassin and poison experts in the village. This is Yugugo, Kenjutsu and capture specialist, and this is Otoha, she's a medical specialist," Kakashi said. "This man here Naruto is Gekihate, and this girl is a friend of his and part-time student Tenten." Naruto nods and said, "Well, Hinata, you can use the west side of the main hall here, and we will take the east side. Now I hope you are both as skilled as the Hokage said." Hate and Tenten. Hate coughed and said, "I don't see you sword," Naruto said. "Oh yeah, I can't use my regular weapons against yours, so let me get a couple of vibroblades." As he walked over to the wall and pushed on it, and everyone heard stone moving and looked and went wide-eyed as they saw a whole inventory of weapons, and Naruto grabbed a pair of black swords and the wall slid back down a moment later. Hate said, "Impressive." Naruto nods and said, "Okay, since this is a spa, we will use the dual circle here. The object is for both of you to force me out of the circle. I have to force you both out. You both can attack me at the same time or separate. It don't matter." As he walked into the center, Tenten said, "Who do you think you are? There's no way you can beat both of you," Naruto said. "Really, prove me wrong." As he tossed them both the vibro blades, Hate looked at them and said, "You mentioned you can't use your regular weapons. Why is that, and why did you give us these?" Naruto said, "Because my regular weapons would destroy your weapons unless they were very strong and perhaps chakra enhanced, but I am not for sure. I know they cut through every metal I tried them on, as well as stone and trees, except those swords because they were made to withstand strikes from mine," Tenten said. "I don't believe you. No weapon is that sharp," Naruto said. "Really, tell you what. If my regular weapon can cut through your swords you brought with you, then you use the blades I gave you and don't get mad at me." "Deal." Tenten pulled out a scroll and unsealed the sword and said, "Deal." Naruto nods and he pulled his cloak to one side and held out his other hand, and a metal tube flew to his hand and it ignited with a snap, his drawing everyone's attention, and a blue blade popped out. Kakashi said, "I know that sound. You lied. It was a weapon, but I thought the blade was red." Naruto held out his other hand and another metal tube appeared in his hand and he activated it, and it was red, and Naruto said, "It was. Deception is a ninja best skill, Kakashi. These are the weapons of my mother's people, the lightsabers. Now I believe we have a bet. Are you ready, Tenten?" Hate looked at the lightsabers and said, "They look similar to the Nidaime's Raijin. Are they chakra-based?" Naruto said, "No, I have some that are chakra-based that I plan to teach Hinata later, but mine are crystal-based. Now shall we?" Tenten took a stance and then went to swing at Naruto, who moved the blue blade too quick for her to see, and her sword was cut clean in two, shocking everyone, and Naruto said, "Like I said, now please use the blades I gave you." Hate said, "I think I will." As he swinged it and said, It feels weird," Naruto said. "It's designed to use sound waves that it creates from movement to sharpen it and make it stronger." As he stopped using the red blade and took a stance, Tintin grabbed the blade Naruto gave her, and then both her and Hate began sparring with both, and to Thea's shock Naruto was blocking every strike and had yet to move his feet. Over to the side everyone was looking and were shocked, and Hinata said, he's not even trying yet. All the women and Kakashi looked at her shocked, and Kurenai asked, "What do you mean Hinata?" Hinata said, "He's got his eyes closed. He's acting on instinct so far." Everyone looked back and sure enough he was blocking every strike with his eyes closed. Kakashi said, "And you're going to learn to do that," Hinata said. "I don't know yet," Kurenai asked. "What happened to you? I mean you change in a good way." Hinata looked at her and smiled and said, "Hinata Hyuga was killed by her family. I am now Lady Hinata." No one knew what to say about that, and so they began talking about being a female ninja, and Kakashi left to get a closer view of the match, and then the woman gave Hinata the talk as well as a scroll full of hygiene supplies. After about 30 minutes Hate stepped back and said, "That's enough Tenten, I have seen enough of that style to know as long as he is not forced to move then he has no openings," Naruto said. "Correct. That is one of the styles I know. I have another style that is nothing but offense, and then another that allows me to do jutsu, and then one where I fight against large number of enemies, and another where I have to defend while moving, and another where I attack while moving. My last style I created that combines all those other styles together. It's still work in progress, but I think I can use it if I had to," Hate said. "I'm impressed. I might spar with you again sometime, but Tenten and I have to go. I promised her dad I would have her home by noon." Naruto nods and said, "Thanks for the spar." As they both left after giving Naruto back the vibroblades, Kakashi said, "Nicely done Naruto. Not many can last that long against Hate," Naruto said. "No, he was mostly observing me. He did not use his real style against me. I can tell," Kakashi nods and said, "Well, I have to be going. I was supposed to have a mission after bringing them here, but I decided to be late for it. CYA. As he left, Naruto sighed and said, "Well ladies, enjoy your stay, but I am going to meditate. If you need anything Hinata, just let me know." Hinata nods and Naruto went to relax. Several hours later Kurenai and the other woman left, all pleased with the impression they left on Hinata. Hinata smiled as she crawled into bed that night and thought, "So many possibilities," as she drifted off to sleep. The next morning Hinata walked into the main hall and saw Naruto sitting there meditating and said, "Hello master." Naruto sighed and said, "Hello Hinata, how are you today?" As he opened his eyes, Hinata said, "I am fine, thank you for asking." Naruto nods and asked, "So how did you like talking to those women yesterday?" Hinata smiled and said, "It was actually very nice." "Thank you," Naruto said. "I am glad. I wanted to show you what you could be if you wanted to be. I have asked if they would come by on Saturdays to talk with you some more. Now it's time for me to show you a surprise." Hinata looked confused and Naruto said, "Go to the far right corner of this hall and count 28 tiles down and 16 tiles to the left and send chakra to the 16th tile." Hinata nods and walked to the corner and started counting tiles, and when she got to the 28th tile she saw there was a small crystal light there, and she then counted 16 tiles, and then when she got there she sent chakra to it, and then a rumbling sound was heard and a set of stairs appeared heading down into the ground, and Naruto said, "Good, now follow me." As he began walking down the stairs, Hinata followed and Naruto said as they began walking through the tunnel, "These were originally built by my parents down here for an emergency shelter for the civilians. I plan to make this where my children who can't defend themselves yet after they can be in a room by themselves live, so that way I know what nearly happened to you won't happen to them. I plan to put video cameras and monitors down here so if they need me or one of their mothers and we are not down here we can come quickly, but that's still down the road. That is not what I brought you down here for. What I did is at the end of this hall," Hinata said. "You seem to be planning for everything Naruto-kun." Naruto stopped in his tracks, and she went wide-eyed covering her mouth, and Naruto said, "Relax Hinata. I am not going to punish you for that. I just wanted you to call me master not for you but as a reminder to me." Hinata blinked and asked, "What do you mean?" Naruto said. "My mother did the same thing to me when she began training me. She did it so I would know that when I am training I am her student, not her son. That way when I got hurt during training I had to learn to deal with it, because if I get hurt in battle I can't run and cry to my mother or hope someone is going to come and save me. I am on my own most likely. It's the same thing for you. Besides what happened when you were a baby, you have pretty much lead a sheltered life Hinata. You had people guarding you everywhere you go. It lead you into a false security that could get you killed later in life. If I could, I would protect you from everything in life, but I know I can't. There will be a time where I won't be there to save you, and I know you need to know how to save yourself. That is why I asked you to call me Master. Hinata smiled and said. I understand, Master, Naruto asked. Are we training right now? Hinata said. No, Naruto said. Then you can call me whatever you want. I may be older than you a little, Hinata, and I may be an asshole sometimes, but I am still human as well. I have my flaws. I don't know everything. I just do what I think is best and never think what I could have done different later. Now are you ready to see the surprise? Hinata said. Yes, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled and asked as they began walking. Are you happy here, Hinata? Truthfully, Hinata's smile slipped and said. I don't know yet. Naruto nods and said. I understand. I know you probably like the training and the new things you are learning, but you don't like me. That's okay. I understand. Like I said, I did what I thought was best, and though I might be able to think of something different now, things could have been worse now than they were. I only hope you can forgive me later. Well, here we are. Go ahead and go on inside. As he stepped aside, Hinata walked to the door and opened it and gasped. Inside was a library, and Hinata looked at Naruto, who smiled and said, I had the Hokage bring me a lot of books to read on different things. I brought you here because I figured if you want to look more into medical field or one of the others, these books might be useful. I also have a few training jutsu my father left me that I moved down here. Nothing in this room is restricted to you. There's not any dangerous jutsu either here if you want to learn them. The ones that are I have in a special vault under blood seals, so no one but me can get them for now. A lot of people would kill to get their hands on my father's two famous jutsu if they could. Now every day when you're training, there are going to be a few 1-hour breaks to allow your body to recover so you don't wear yourself out. Now after your first 2 exercises you can take one, and then after an hour break in which you can come and get you something to read or work on anything you want that is not physical exercise. I don't want you to hurt yourself. Now follow me and I will explain to you the 3rd exercise because I have something to take care of, but I will be back after that. Okay, Hinata said. Yes, Master. Naruto closes his eyes and nods, and he leads her away from the library and asked, You do remember which blocks on the wall changes the fields for the first 2 exercises, right? Hinata said. Yes, Master. Naruto nods, and when they got back upstairs, Naruto said, Go ahead and channel chakra into that stone you did before so the ground resets. Hinata did, and Naruto walked over to the wall, and Naruto said, Now this will be your 3rd exercise. As he pushed a brick, Hinata watched which one it was and asked, Master, I noticed that all the bricks you have hit are under one of those light crystal. Are all of them that way? Naruto said. Very good. Yes, they are. That was a test on observation. You picked it up rather quick. I thought it would have taken until the 5th exercise before you caught it. You proved me wrong. With a smile, Hinata smiled at the praise she received, and she watched as the field changed and stone pillars rose from the ground and connected together to form an arch, and Naruto said, Now this exercise is chakra training. I figure you already know some chakra exercises, correct? Hinata said. Yes, tree climbing and water walking, Naruto said. Well, for my training you're not ready for water walking yet. Hinata was shocked and started to say something, and Naruto said, Let me explain, please. Okay, the reason I said that is because water walking eats at your chakra faster than tree climbing. I'd bet if you do water walking at your current level you run out within about 15 minutes, right? Hinata sighs and nods, and Naruto said, I realize that. I am not saying you can't know the exercise, but I want you to be able to stay on the water for a full hour before without stopping. Right now you're still building your reserves, which are larger than all the other girls in our class, by the way, but they are still smaller than most of the boys besides Shikamaru. It's not your fault. Women naturally have better control but smaller reserves, but if they work hard they can overcome that setback. That is one of the bonus to the first 2 exercises I have you do. Chakra is a combination of physical and spiritual energy. 2 hours of physical training and 1 hour of mental training would give you probably another 3 minutes of chakra to use before you run out, but then you don't have the control for those 3 minutes you would have. That is why I got this exercise for you. I want you to run for now on the top of the arch. It's harder than regular tree climbing because the slope is slanted to so much a degree if you stop running you will slide back down. When you can do this exercise for 1 hour 3 days in a row, I then want you to run on top, and then when you get to the other side run back on the bottom and keep going back and forward until you can go 7 days doing that, and then do all of it on the bottom. That way you are forced to constantly improve and get harder. When I add weight training next week, it will be even harder for you, Hinata asked. When will I be ready for water walking, master? Naruto said. Good question. Remember the waterfall exercise. When you can do that exercise completely with 10 minutes to spare before it resets so it can fill the pool up, then you will be ready for water walking. That is actually exercise 10 if you want to know, and you wouldn't get it until you can do all 9 of the ones before it. Hinata nods and said. Then I have a goal to work toward, master, Naruto said. That's the spirit, Hinata. I knew you were strong. Hinata smiled and said. Well, I'd better get to training. Naruto sighed and said. Yeah, I have some things I need to do also. That reminds me, Hinata. I don't know if I said it before or if you knew it already, but if you ever want to leave or take a break from training, you can. I got the feeling I might have made it where you thought you were a slave or servant or something like that. You're not. I just forgot to tell you because I wanted to make sure Sasuke knew he can't touch you again. If he does, I will hurt him, and before long I think you will be able to hurt him as well. I guess I spent so much time here with just mom over the last years I forgot people like to walk around and do things besides training. Hinata looked at him and said, Thank you. I was wondering about that, Naruto said. No problem. Good luck today. I will see you later. As he left, Naruto left his grounds and walked toward town, and he walked into the Uchiha district and started to scream. Oi, Sasuke, you here? After a few minutes of this, Sasuke appeared sweating and asked, What do you want and why are you here? Naruto said. Look, I just came by to tell you that Hinata is no longer a Hyuga and I want you to leave her alone. She's now a member of my clan and under my protection. You mess with her and I will kill you. Do you understand? Sasuke was seething inside at the threat and said, Yeah, I understand. Controlling his anger, Naruto said. Good, now I got to go get Hinata presents customized. I hope she likes them. They're perfect weapons for her. As he began walking away, Sasuke thought, That's what Master was talking about. I'd better follow him. As he waited a moment for Naruto to leave before he started to follow, Naruto felt him and smirked and thought, Never mess with the son of a former Sith Lord. As he walked through town, after about 10 minutes he found the Wolf Claw weapon shop and he entered and saw Tenten there and he said, Whoa, I didn't know you worked here. Actually surprised, Tenten saw him narrowing her eyes and asked, What do you want? Naruto held up his hands and said, Hold it. I don't mean any harm here. I just came to get a couple of weapons customized and my father's notes said this is where he got his weapons from. Tenten sighed and said, Sorry, so what do you need? Naruto unsealed a scroll and a wooden box popped out and Naruto set it on the counter and opened the lid and said, This is what I was talking about. These are those chakra blades I told you about. I am planning to give them to Hinata for her birthday, and I wanted to get them customized. Tenten looked inside the box and saw 2 silver tubes and she asked, What do you want done with them? I don't know anything about them, so I am not sure we can customize them, Naruto said. Trust me, it won't be hard. The actual working of them can't be gotten to unless you know how to, but what I want is to have a wooden grip put on them to make it where it would be harder to see them, and then have a life seal placed on them so no one but her can use them until she dies. I read this shop has done those before with swords, Tenten said. Yeah, it will take probably about a month to finish though. Wooden grips for anything not metal based like swords take longer to get because we have to custom order them from a logger we have a deal with. Is that okay? Naruto nods and said, Yeah, that will work. I will pick them up in a month. Hinata's birthday's a week after that anyways. Tenten nods and said, Right. I will put them in the safe and back until then. As she took the box and the lightsabers and put them in the safe, when she came back she had a piece of paper in her hands and said, So your order does not get mixed up, I have this receipt for you. It's got the number 32 on it so that way if Dad is here and not me you can get them. Naruto took the paper and put it in his pocket and said, Well, I guess I will see you later. Tenten nods and said, See you. Naruto began walking out and saw Sasuke glancing at him from the corner of the store window, and he turned to head back toward the house and Sasuke thought, Now's my chance. As he walked up to Naruto said, Hey, what time you got? Naruto pulled his hand out of his pocket and Sasuke saw the small receipt fall out as Naruto looked at his watch and said, 9:15. Why? Sasuke said. I have a meeting with someone and wanted to make sure I am not late. Thanks. As he took a few steps and put his foot on the paper and he looked down and tightened his strap on his sandals and grabbed the paper from under it and walked away. Naruto smirked as he saw this and thought, You're still too stupid to think you're better than me, Sasuke. I had planned that already, fool. Naruto then began to whistle a Rodian jig he learned from his mom as he walked back toward his house, but a man bumped into him and said, "Pardon me, youngling." As he walked on by, Naruto blinked as he was called that and thought, "Mom, did he just call me what I think he called me?" As he looked back and saw the man was walking toward the gates, Kushina narrowed her eyes and said, "Follow him, son. Something's not right." Naruto nods and he reached his hand behind him and went wide-eyed and thought, "My lightsabers, they're gone." As he began to chase after the man who had already made it outside the gate. As Naruto approached the gate, two Chunins went to block him as they said, "Wait, you." Naruto ignored them and jumped over them and sped into the woods, following the guy as fast as he could. After about 30 minutes, Naruto stopped in a clearing, having lost track of the guy, and he began to look around and he felt something in the force and said, "Okay, you can come out now. I know you're there." The man he had followed before stepped out from behind a tree and held up Naruto lightsabers. Naruto asked, "Who are you and how did you know of those?" The man said, "I haven't met a Jedi yet that hasn't had at least one of these on them. So tell me, what's a Jedi doing all the way out here?" Naruto said. "I'm no Jedi," the man said. "Ah, a Sith then," Naruto said. "Nope, not a Sith either." The man looked at him and said, "Really? Then why do you have these then?" Naruto said. "Who are you and what do you want?" the man said. "The name's not important. I've been following you since I saw the funky Jedi temple in town. Nice trick back there with the boy. Actually had him thinking you fell for his what time is a trick," Naruto said. "Look, buddy, you don't know who you're messing with here. If you don't start answering my questions, I am going to put you in a world of pain." The man smirked and said, "Boy, you got nothing on me. I may not look it, but I am probably the only Jedi who could fight Revan toe to toe. Now as for who I am, you can call me Ramsay." Naruto narrowed his eyes and said, "You're the guy who was responsible for the massacre at Malacca V," Ramsay said. "That I am, though. How do you know that?" "You're too young to have been alive then," Naruto said. "I have my ways. Now tell me, Ramsay, what do you want here?" Ramsay said. "Revan, I am looking for her," Naruto asked. "For what?" Ramsay said. "The Republic needs her. After she left, new Sith Lords appeared and nearly destroyed the Jedi. We defeated them, but only a handful of Jedi are left," Naruto said. "Sorry, the best place for Revan is where she is at the moment. If she were able to leave her, she would still stay here because there is more going on in this sector of space than you know," Ramsay said. "You know a lot about her, so how can you be sure?" Naruto smirked and Ramsay was slammed into a tree and Naruto pulled his lightsabers to him and said, "I'm her son." Ramsay rubbed his jaw as he stood up and said, "Well, that's surprising. I didn't even have time to defend from that attack," Naruto said. "Yeah, Mom's full of surprises." Ramsay's eyes went wide and looked around and said, "Revan's nearby." Naruto smirked and said, "From a certain point of view. Now go back to the Republic and tell them Revan's dead. Now I have things I need to do, so if you will excuse me, I must be going." Ramsay activated his own green lightsaber and said, "I'm afraid it's not that easy, kid. You see, me and a few others have come here to get her, even if it's by force. Now if I have to capture you to bring her here, then I will." Naruto sighed with his back to Ramsay as he pulled out something from his cloak, and he slipped on his hood and said, "Then I am afraid that we will have to do this the hard way. By the way, the name's Darth Rasen." As he turned around and fired a bolt of force lightning at Ramsay. Ramsay defended by blocking with his lightsaber and saw Naruto had his mask on and he said, "So you are a Sith," Naruto said. "I already told you once, no. I am not a Jedi or a Sith. I am a combination of both. I do not divide the Force into the light or dark side because I am one with the Force." As he activated both his lightsaber and then took up a defensive stance, Ramsay said, "Then this will be fun," as he got ready as well. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below and turn on the bell notification. And also check out other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.